Hello, everybody. Welcome to the quarterfinals of the Victorious ARAM series. My name is Quintic, and I will be your producer and caster today, alongside Demented Loki, our usual pretty face on the other side of the commentator's desk. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing alright. We're a little bit sore, been kind of silly goofy, climbing up a couple other mountains and dropping down to the pits of Elo Hell. We got an interesting game tonight, though. It is Dow versus Akuma, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Akuma Katanas, of course, the first seed from Group A, who has somehow managed to dodge the stream so far. Um, alongside Divine Ascension Obsidian, who we did manage to catch on the broadcast in week 4, who took out Flannel Esports Frostbite pretty handily, although Flannel Esports, I love them, but it is what it is. So tonight we're going to see how they stack up against a stronger opponent. They are the 4th seed from their group. We'll see if they manage to make an upset, like go on some dark horse run through the playoffs, or if Akuma is just going to be able to progress, because like Divine Ascension is certainly the underdog here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how Akuma performs on camera. We've seen Sully super confident being these beefy front lines and really taking a lot of heat off of their teammates to let them shine. But there's also the Rogue Vygar game or Anivia, so, it could be a bit of a head scratcher.
Right. So, I mean, you in the green room, you and I were kind of talking about what these teams tend to look like, and you seem to have done your research certainly. So, I'm going to bring the screen over to our actual pools for game number 1 for the night. This is what Akuma's rolled. This is what Divine Ascension has rolled, and Loki, knowing what you know about these teams, what do you think we're going to end up seeing?
Alright, so we're gonna take a moment, we're gonna gaze into the crystal ball that I stole from Beautiful Crow. I really hope he doesn't ask for that back, by the way. It's right 50% of the time, 100% of the time, and we're gonna take a second. From Divine Ascension Obsidian, they have really just liked hitting the W key. And I want to see a Lilia, Kaisa, Lee Sin, Kennen, and maybe the Rogue Zac to just have a really high tempo, take these team fights by storm, since we know their AD carrier player is very comfortable behind like Zaya, Kaisa, just enjoying the safety that comes with having their own peel tool, but lots of versatility there. But Akuma Katanas, I'm going to be leaning super hard into, we're probably going to see that Rel picked up. They've been a very strong staple through a lot of the ARAM games that we've seen thus far. There's just a lot of utility that comes from peeling off some armor and getting a couple funny stuns, and Magnet Storm's a great ability. Trundle with his Subjugate has also been a really high pick rate so far. Just being able to make the few tanks that happen even squishier is incredible. And if we can get a decent Varus pilot that gives us all the backline you really need, but we've noticed in the high-tempo games, Jace can come out to shine really well. The good old relegate into a queue, just deleting people from across 2 screens is really hard to deal with. But I'm not sure how I feel about their options for a mage pick, and they might want to default to Lulu.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, like trying to figure out how much magic damage they need to splash into their comp, if any, right? Because Divine Ascension for durability are really only looking at the Zac, so you have to kind of wonder on Akuma Katanas if they have to care about introducing the Azir for damage spread considerations. Um, I'm kind of curious about
Match?
that one point you had on Divine Ascension, though, where you were kind of predicting this big, like, death ball wombo tempo sort of thing, and you were, like, really, really
Yeah.
devaluing a lot of these marksman picks. Is there, is that just sort of something that you've kind of watched throughout the split, like, where range DPS is less valuable than we thought it would be in week 1, or?
So, yes and no. You can get a lot of tower chip with that, but realistic Corky can be pulled in pretty easily. He just does a lot of poke damage, a lot of yeah, I know I'm building full attack damage, however, 1200 magic damage because, well, ooga booga, you done. But Kindred, we've seen, has a really hard time getting off the ground, where it's either they do or they don't, and when they don't, it's just not a good time. Aphelios, no one has time to read that. Lucian, Lucian has this beautiful spot in my heart, but he gets bodied by most things that are good in ARAM, in my genuine opinion, and from what I've seen thus far, where people just don't seem to want to pick him. Uh,
Right. Well, I don't know. I think I'm a little less sour on some of those. I mean the Corki especially. I think you're correct in that he um, contributes so much poke value. Marksman damage on top of that, I think, is valuable. Like especially looking at the side of Akuma Katanas, right? Because if we're going to get punished on a marksman pick here, it's most likely going to be because you have all these champions that are playing like super fast, right? And
mhm.
really, I mean, we've called out the Jace as an option, we've called out the Trundle as an option, but I don't think I'm seeing any of those picks like along the lines of a Karthus or something, like along the lines of like Uber Wave Clear that's actually going to be able to push the tempo on Divine Ascension, right?
Yeah.
So I personally do think that Divine Ascension is going to have like a little bit of an easier time finding some more of those scaling picks given the pool of their opponents here. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see, right? Because as we see in the lobby here, we're now just waiting on exactly one player. We are just
Mhm.
about ready to go, and we'll know momentarily, right?
Yeah, it's also just these games have been incredibly fast, so we have that beautiful idea in our eyes where it's like, yeah, it could be really good to scale, but when you're pushing a boulder uphill, I don't think they're going to be able to get it past 12 degrees before they get squashed with it when they try, if I'm honest.
True. Yep.
Oh.
Well, we did see last week, week 7, Krem versus Bobo Destroyers. Was definitely the
Mhm.
slowest early games that we've seen on the broadcast because these are two teams at the top of their standings, and they both kind of knew inherently who would win that level 1 fight, so they didn't want to opt into it if they were losing, right?
Yeah.
The games were still fast, of course. The game still finished quickly. The games were still played like just to beat down the enemy as much as possible. But wave clear was king, and without wave clear, scaling can occur. Scaling is accelerated. So um, I think like just it's an interesting way to think about ARAMs, especially since like you never know.
Mhm.
If we only really saw that from like the absolute top echelon, then we could also see Divine Ascension like trying to like scrap their way to victory from level 1, and then in which case, yeah, the wombo comp you suggested makes a lot of sense here, right? Because what are Akuma Katanas going to do to defend against that? We checked durability on Dao. We
Mhm.
haven't checked durability on Akuma, right?
Yeah, right. Trundle can be a really beefy boy. Don't get me wrong. I adore Trundle. Rel can be a really good front line. And if they decide to opt into an Olaf, which I think would be a little bit weird here, or the Thresh, there's a lot of options for it. But if we don't go with the Thresh, we'll likely pick up a Lulu. And we did see one of the players in the archives, Akuma Katanas, does like playing the Enchanter here and there. So we might be seeing Fluke from the side of Akuma Katanas opting to grab that. So there's options to play a really kitey game, but I think Kennon's good for locking that down. Lilia could lock it out as well if they're able to get a good drowsy, but that's both more and less consistent with the way that these teams have been playing so far.
And at the end of the day, like I do want to see deep strategy. I do want to see kind of some slower ARAMs from time to time, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Just
we're
hit
kind of
Tower
here for
5 head.
violence, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Clinic, I think I'm gonna have to have a conversation with your therapist after that line. Um, we are in fact here for violence is one heck of a line to bring up when you're getting ready to watch a video game. So, are you okay, my friend?
it's an outlet, okay? Like it's a
Yeah.
healthy way of expressing it.
Hmm.
We've got 5 or 10 people in the lobby right now. Champ Select should be started. Yeah. Hold on. It turns out I was actually the roadblock
Yeah.
all along.
Yeah.
My chat box hadn't scrolled. So we are in Champ Select. It is time for us to find out what these teams are going towards. And because we still don't have the perfect graphics for
Somebody, let's
the
go!
screen, we are going to just narrate in real time what everybody is picking. So Divine Ascension, of course, Loki just cheered. We do see the Jax in play, right? We do see the Zac hover. We do see the Kennen hover. It looks like it's going in that direction. They are considering a Felios, like maybe wanting to add the cleanup dynamic to the Wombo, adding the Infernum ultimate. So that's not something we brought up right away, but it's a good idea. On the side of Akuma, of course, Rel is being hovered. Azir is locked in. Jace is locked in. Wukong is locked in. And they are also considering a Thresh on top of that, which, how do you feel about the Thresh so far?
I like Thresh. I'm a little confused about Wukong actually. I would have expected them to go with. Actually, they didn't have too many options. I would have expected Trundle maybe to be able to strip some of the Zack or Jax type of character's ability to really just sit in on the team fights. But the Cyclone for an extra knockup can pay off pretty strongly, as well as they do chip away a little bit of armor. But this comp from Divine Ascension, having that cannon lock, having the Jax lock, and even though Zack has hovered, it's probably happening. Come on, we're gonna just
Of
all go
course.
into the bounce house for a little bit. This is a hard comp to be able to try to peel around, and I think they went the Wukong Cyclone to try to have another little effort to avoid the all-in on their Azir and on Troll Gamer HDO with the Jace.
Yeah.
And it's an idea.
Yeah. Now that being said, I do actually really like the Azir for the disengage here, right? Like Kennen versus Azir, just introducing the Shurima Shuffle or just the regular old Emperor's Divide, should stifle at least some degree of the Divine Ascension engage, unless of course Kennen's finding something without using Mark.
Yeah.
A lot of dynamics. The
But
Wukong makes sense. Like I think with Rel to initiate for him, he plays follow up. The Thresh is in play. So again, just now that everything is locked in, the final compositions are Akuma is playing Azir, Rel, Wukong, Thresh, and Jace, while Divine Ascension Obsidian have locked in Jax, Zac, Xerath, Aphelios, and Kennen.
yeah.
Well rounded on
Imagine
one
if
side.
Azir Imagine if Azir brought the Hex Gate to his resurrected tower for a minute.
That would actually be such an insane tempo mechanic.
Ryan, get on it.
Immediately broken champion on ARAM if that were
Yeah.
true.
Alright, so we're gonna go with our old tradition before we get on into it, though. Quinnick, you get to be the next up for this shenanigans. What is your favorite kind of soup?
Let's have a cliffhanger going here. Why don't we leave the answer
Yeah.
to that one until game one begins? Don't go
You can
anywhere.
just tell me you don't have an answer.
All right, here we are, the start of game number 1 in our VAS quarterfinals. Akuma versus Divine Ascension. Favorite soup? This one's pretty important. I remember having like this weird pickle soup at one point. That was pretty delicious.
Interesting choices. We're seeing them get right on into a good snowball from the Zac. This is just going to be a lot of shenanigans. We got the Cyclone coming in, and whoa, 4-man stun from Rel. But no one's going to die. We got the Zac passive out early, but that's good. There we go. Jax with the first blood going to be continuing running on in. The exhaust will be traded out for both summoner spells. Zac might be going down next. There we go. Cafe Chocolata is going to be getting a kill for themselves. A nice little trade back and forth. I prefer an Italian wedding soup. But,
nice transition. Yeah, no, these teams are wasting absolutely no time in just scrapping. This is the ARAM we like to see. A far cry from Week 7's matches. And really, no one's that much worse for wear. Like using Zac passive, although we are going in Zac initiating right away. Jax with the follow-up counter-strike. 2 down immediately. Cafe Chocolata is down in the back end. Wukong has fallen. Mike Vick's dog is trying to create some extra space. It's 4-3 in Divine Ascension's favor. Magnum Buck snipes out X-Fluke, and it looks like Divine Ascension are taking the early push lead with minor numbers advantage, as long as their condition isn't heavily punished. Jace initiates with the mark, takes down Killian, is stunned by Gravitum right away. Mike Vick's dog is creating some space. And it seems Jace forced to flash out as check mailbox goes back in with counter-strike. This fight does not end ever. That is ARAM, baby.
We just keep zooming.
I'm just personally getting distracted by these like 13:21 replay shenanigans with Xerath's like Q generating all these 9999s on my screen. Like,
I was going to ask, is that just my files blocked? I'm glad it's not, but it looks like we're going to be seeing another bounce house potentially. Don't get spooky with it now.
Some quiet on the Abyss for a moment.
The shoutouts to Guardian items that have been, you know, progressively seeing more and more play throughout the split as people realize, wait, they're not bad?
Yeah, no, the Guardian items are super, super crazy. I assume this fight's just going to be like a 1-for-1 or a disengage, so I will keep making my point, right? We've mostly been seeing, like, you know...
Bro, Flash Hook, let's go! Cafe Chocolate gets their kill, let's go! And he's back with check your mailbox. He's going to get a stunning gun all the way down to the next to fall, as it's going to be 3 lives traded back and forth. Lots of shutdowns. Sully not looking too good, as Killian's going to be running on in. There we go. Hacker Room is going to be waddling their way back with Fluke going, hey, the battlefield.
Hackroom's in pretty poor condition. Caterpillar for now is the one who actually has the health relic, so I am like kind of expecting a minor advantage for Divine Ascension on this sequence. Oh, especially if Thresh gets taken by a snipe. No? The level up hook. The level up hook coming in clutch. Mike Vick's dog trying to initiate something onto Wukong, but should clone away if anything develops any further.
From so far, Hackroom just continues to get slapped. Poor man. Gonna be going into the blender to be able to get one of their items back at least, you know? Get those health bars in before they can.
You know what's funny? I didn't check how deliberate this was, but Hackroom was stepping forwards, like spending his HP, which actually gave Akuma the opportunity to take control of the wave. It is manifesting in Wukong and Rel initiating. Aphelios down already. A big wombo starting up now as Jace is free firing onto this. Chocolata in the back and triple kill for Wukong. Traded back into the Zac. It's a very, very high tempo death as well. And Akuma's actually going to get some time on the turret.
That's almost advice. Killed with a slicing maelstrom is able to get 4 members of Akuma stunned up. There goes Fluke, but they're going to be falling under the tower. This prevents the tower take for just a little bit. And Caterpillar for now had an interesting cleanse under his turret.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just spent already. But it's kind of funny watching this cannon initiation because that 1-for-1 with how much damage is dealt AoE in the context of ARAM is actually worth it. Right? It's
gotta keep them towers up.
So much easier for Divine Ascension to actually push this any further. I'm searching for a moment to breathe, right? But
yeah.
I'm finding that
just breathe, Fivehead.
It does not happen. Because I want to talk about the Guardian items. I want to talk about Aphelios like finding the BF recall and looking like it's maybe just going into an early Gale Force with the items that I see in inventory, right?
Yeah. Probably a fairly safe assumption. Hakarum with the hook, it's going to be just a little bit goofy. Mike Vick's dog is able to make sure check mailbox gets out okay, but little trickster games as the little flop from Mike Vick's. We have a lot of crescendos coming on. Flash from Caterpillar is going to be continuing to auto a full health target. There's Solly coming back in to be able to make sure that they fall. Cafe Chocolata is very low. The Cyclone won't the twin will not save you, as the shutdown is going to come out. But that's a lot of items getting picked up. Mike Vic's dog is just going into the blender.
Speaking of blender, Counter-Strike directly onto the Azir following the Shurima Shuffle, as Akuma's X-Fluke's play has actually like backfired a little bit. Troll Gamer does trade one back onto check mailbox. The wave is very slightly favored for Akuma, but the health bars certainly are not.
This Xerath is starting to hurt, man. But so's Jace, you know, they're getting some of their items. We have the Divine Sunder up for the Cafe Chocolata as well, as Hakarum is going for a bit of an overzealous hook. But we have the artillery coming in. There's 3. There's one more shot to go, and you know, one for 4 ain't bad. You know, we'll take that. 25%.
Minor trade. First time we've actually seen a short trade in a map like this, right? We are kind of noticing as Hakarum is going in and trying to just play the wave. And as check mailbox is going to shut down the Jace very abruptly, we are going to notice the early Warmogs completed for Mike Vic's dog, which is actually going to allow Zach to keep continually making these plays and continually trade health, which should eventually manifest as a small tempo advantage. I mean, like, with repeated trades, with Xerath poke, like, I worry that eventually if Akuma doesn't find an equivalent spike, or just some like monumental wombo, they are eventually going to be out-tempoed, right? So it's actually Akuma who are being pressured to act. But Killian is the one starting it off. Big slicing Maelstrom onto 4 or 5. The Azir Shurima Shuffle tries to retaliate, does take out Killian. The health bars are so low on Divine Ascension, actually following the Rel ultimate. Cafe Chocolata finds access to the backline. And Akuma, they look primed to take a 1 for 5. Zach passive goes down. Check mailbox is trying to retaliate. The Counter-Strike gets 1. The Counter-Strike gets 2. No! Barely not, as Jax is shut down. And despite the item advantage, despite all of this like potential benefits that Divine Ascension had in terms of their ability to play the ARAM macro, it is in fact Akuma who are able to win the fight and find some extra structure damage.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Killian just got put into. Yep. We put the ferret in the sink again.
Into the Yordle box with you.
Yeah, I mean, Akuma has a lot of items where they really like seeing these big health bars. The Divine Center, the Leandres, and Mike Vic's dog is going to be hopping right on down. The artillery from downtown with Magnum. Is that Buick or Buck? As Hakarum is going to be falling next. That is Buck. My brain goo is feeling fuzzy, ain't yours?
We've got the car brain. Yeah, I've been harassing my roommate lately with an account that just says Kia Souls suck. That's all their posts. He loves the Kia Soul. But
really,
he doesn't
a
have
Kia
a soul
Soul
anymore,
enjoyer.
Jax.
I mean, you know, he's chilling. Sully now haunts becomes pants. You know, it's just the way you go. Killian is gonna get in with the mark though. That's a terrifying spot to be in, but they got pulled into a potential slicing maelstrom. The stuns are just gonna be too much. That's that gone.
The ultimate takes for like
hour.
three frames. Kind of ultimate cooldown spent, but not getting any value. That's so sad for Divine Ascension. Akuma are really starting to run over the game now with first turret taken with a 2,000 gold advantage with Jack Show on the Rel.
No artillery. Another 1 for 4.
Jace has 2 items.
Jace do be pretty strong, but like, you know, not the star player right now. As you're going to see, Mike Vic's dog does get a double knockup in the form of Chocolata, and they're just going to be pushed away. We don't need to save that Shurima Shuffle anymore, as Chocolata is going a little bit too far. Here goes Troll Gamer, though, just vibing, is able to pick up a double kill for their troubles, and the Azir turret is just going to be holding so much space in there. Caterpillar, for now, is the first one targeted. The Exhaust avoiding any crescendo damage, as Troll Gamer, with the Eclipse shield, almost survives, and now we're just going to be stunning and gunning for the ace. That's Akuma coming out pretty on top. Lots of damage coming in from that turret.
That's an absolute disaster. Because now the gold is extended to 3,000, right? And of course these supports are not dying to the Xerath alone. Sully should eventually fall, right? Even now, the shield keeping them alive. I don't know how useful the Rel is going to be on this HP until they can retreat to the health relics, but Akuma might not even lose some of their champions here. Like, these supports might get another sequence, and that, if they do get a second sequence here, Check Mailbox is not able to clean up Hakarum, which he cannot do. Solely does fall in the end. Mike Vic's dog chunked will not stick. But yeah, that 1 for 1 is like not even detrimental. Troll Gamer goes in really deep, trying to have some fun here, but it is creating some space for X-Fluke to hit the turret. Killian in with the slicing Maelstrom, hits 2, trades onto Hakarum. Divine Ascension get a small window here. The staggered deaths are actually kind of a big deal, but Caterpillar for now is falling as well, and it's realistically only Mike Vick's dog able to play the wave. Neutral wave, Akuma respawning just slightly faster than Divine Ascension, and unfortunately no advantage clawed back.
Yeah, Hacker by accident almost trolled that one completely, dropping the Slicing Maelstrom onto Fluke's forehead just a little bit more. We saw a nice little evade in the form of Fluke doing a little shuffle, and then suddenly the rat's back. Like, that's not what you want.
Yeah, I personally am not a fan of dubious little creatures being on my forehead.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna judge what Akuma likes, but we do have to question it at least a little bit.
I'm questioning what Hacker marks, as he likes to sit all the way up there to get hit with check mailbox. The Magnet Storm is here on to 3 with the Cyclone. Caterpillar for now has no room to react. As we continue to move on up, Cafe Chocolata is going to take all this space, slicing Maelstrom just to try to hold back Sully a little bit longer. Is able to get Cafe, and Killian's going to be falling next, but Sully just lives forever. We have another artillery dunk coming in there. You got 2 more shots left. Please land. No! No damage, and they're going to be in the counter-strike, but sent back to the fountain. A little bit of bounce house from Mike Vick's dog. The bendy hands are going to go a little bit wide, though, and Troll Gamer's just going to walk under this tower and close another one out to the Reaper.
Divine Ascension are getting rolled. They are not able to find any ground, especially into this Azir turret. It's just so oppressive, and with Akuma's superior tempo, they are claiming the first inhibitor of this series. Killian is trying to get in, but what can they do? There are health relics to retreat to if Akuma wanted them.
I mean, that's a good teleport from check mailbox. Sully almost missed it as we're going to be going into this fight. The shuffle to bring 3 out of the base. Killian is in the blender. Troll Gamer is going to be making sure Mike Vick's dog cannot move. We have so much crowd control from these supports. This is going to be a really bad spot for Magnum Buck to be in, as we have 5 members of Akuma still standing strong to siege this base, and we're just seeing it. The chip damage onto Sully, that's not even chip damage, as Cafe Chocolata is going to borderline start to dive. The towers, though, they're just going to rain in and avoid this. Troll Gamer, never mind, just wanted to delete the Arcane Boy.
I actually think Troll Gamer should have died here.
Oh my god! The Eclipse value of this game has been nuts. Almost got another one, I was going to scream.
That's crazy. So Akuma go for a tactical execute, knowing that they can't actually finish, and they do stagger it just a little bit, which is going to give some ground to Divine Ascension. Like, they may be able to finish off this first turret, but with Azir already respawning, already defended by Rel and Thresh, I mean, you can just see how oppressive this would have been had there been no stagger. Divine Ascension would have had no room to breathe whatsoever.
I mean, Slicing Maelstrom is good, but the Azir is just there to get the little pack rat into a 3-man Magnet Storm already. That's a double kill coming out for Fluke, and the Bounce House is ready, but Caterpillar is not allowed any space to stand here. We might be seeing something go crazy. Mike Vick is going to be the next one to fall. They're caught in the blender, and we have Cafe Chocolata. I don't even know where his mark landed, but they're just going to run his pockets.
And that is surely it. Only Killian respawning in 5 seconds without access to the Kennen ultimate. How on earth can a Divine Ascension hold anything like this? Check mailbox in 3, Caterpillar in 7, but they're already on the tier 3 turret. Are taking that down. 2v5, imminent 4. Infernum ultimate is available, but Killian's already down. And it looks like it is, in fact, Akuma Katanas taking game number 1 of the series.
That was almost a contender for one of the speedruns. Let's get that jotted down for the rest of the end of this split. Yeah, you know, 14 minutes, pretty solid time.
That's a speedy one, yeah.
Yeah. You know, they got that zoom fast. They heard we got 3 games in it, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna finish it in 2.
You know, I think that game is a really good one for us to watch back in the future when we are trying to develop the strategy of the ARAM leagues in future seasons, right? Because we saw this one moment, that critical moment where Divine Ascension did actually have that Warmogs and Xerath advantage, and they just chose to fight, and that immediately sent tempo in the direction of Akuma for the rest of that game. That was just... That was a lot, right? I'm realizing now, oh no, did I have the wrong... I worry that I may have just had the wrong display of the entire game, like listing Divine Ascension as blue side, and I couldn't correct it because I was casting. So
You know, a little silly goofy.
just to clarify for anyone at home, just in case that graphic was in fact wrong, Akuma katanas were the blue side. Um,
All right, we're gonna get Quinnick a coffee. I think is gonna
ah,
be what we need. Get a little bit more zoomies in his system so he can be on par with these teams coming up because we got some quick games in here.
yeah, exactly. And we will let. I do need to rest a little bit. We'll go get the graphics prepared for the next game, and we will probably beat me over the head by a 2x4 and see if I end up smarter on the other side. Um,
I got 15 cc's of whack muck.
Of course, of course. Don't go anywhere. Game number 2 is starting shortly. Are Divine Ascension going to be able to make a comeback? Are they going to find a better sense of tempo in the next game? Or will Akuma bide their time and just come out with the 2-0 advantage? Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of the Victorious ARAM Series quarterfinals. Akuma Katanas have taken Game 1 in convincing fashion, just building up a slow but obvious snowball over Divine Ascension Obsidian. So we have our Game 2 pools. Teams have switched sides. Let's just take a look at what we've got here. Loki, what are you expecting to see from these teams?
I am expecting Divine Ascension to have a really fun game. I'm looking at Silas, I am looking at Tarek, and I really want to see a Forge God. But they also have Malphite, who is just, consistent 4-man knockup, 3-man knockup, pretty easy to get with your unstoppable force. Karma, we all have seen Karma in ARAM. She's so annoying to kill. But they could also grab Vi for a potential assault and battery. They have a lot of really fun options to say we go in, we go.
But meanwhile, on Akuma Katanas, they've got a couple we go out options, right? We're sitting here, I mean, Karthus is on the table. And as soon as Karthus is visible, that champion's almost certainly being locked in. The tempo that you're allowed to generate with him, just using that passive, is disgusting. And then on top of that, they have the option of taking a Nivea, so that Divine Ascension may never generate tempo again unless you are actively killing people, which almost implies, like, if they go that route, the only option would be to find, like, Tarek and Malphite, but then, like, do we really want to wait for the 3-minute ultimate of Tarek? Like, usually, no. Right? So, Akuma and Katanas have a potential stranglehold over this draft, too. I mean, Nico's available. Zach is available. And while
How do we feel about the Pirate?
The Pirates. Gangplank is... Sorry, on which side? There he is, on Akuma, too. More disengaged, more defensive wave clear. Like, Akuma can literally just win this game by not fighting champions. Most likely. Which means it is Divine Ascension's responsibility to make the most of their we go in options, right? We are so now that we've kind of been over that very briefly here, we are able to start acknowledging what these teams are locking in. Tarek was hovered for a second, which I think there are like some serious pros and cons, right? But it was swapped out for Janna at the last second. So Divine Ascension are running Yorick with Janna, Silas, Caitlyn, and Ornn. So Malphite left on the table. They have not chosen to lock it in, which is one decision that I'm interested in. Also, the Yorick here, which we were talking about in the green room, as something that, you'd have to have a pretty scuffed pool to find mage Yorick value, and yet Divine Ascension thinks that this is going to be the champion that gets them their win, that actually punches through some of this wave clear. And meanwhile, Akuma Katanas have locked in, of course, Karthus. You have to.
Yep.
Gangplank and Nico. So that's a lot. And Urgot and Aatrox. So they've decided that the wave clear of just Gangplank and Nico and all that is enough, and Nivea is excessive, right? So they have actually drafted some offensive combat power as well. What do you think about these lineups?
I am really sad that I didn't get to see my Tarek Silas. I think in ARAM, that is just an incredible way to go. But, I got my silly, goofy boy. He does a little jig. We got the Ram Jam at the ready in the form of a Forge God, and it's in the hand of Mike Vick's dog, who was able to get a lot of value last game with Zach. Regardless of, they kind of got squashed by the boulder, but, they got some value out of it. I'm interested to see this Gangplank just one-tap Janna, or, check mailbox is looking pretty squishy, too. So, I think the Pipe Bomb is going to be in their hole for this one.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, yar har fiddly-dee, pushing these waves is all right with me. It's going to take a lot for Caitlyn to break through that, and as much as I would have loved to see, again, the Tarek Silas, we're always concerned about cooldowns, right? Divine Ascension have a relatively low cooldown team composition, ways of actually interacting here. But yeah, no, I'm afraid. I am nervous. We're going to see a lot of HP get shaved off of Silas and stuff. I mean, Urgot just receives it so well too.
Their health bar is kind of cool, but imagine if it didn't move.
I do like health bars that don't move.
Those cooldowns are really neat. But through the power of one glowing guy who has his shirt cut way too open for the lack of hair, if you ask me, your health bars could just not move.
And that's actually a good point too, and it is something that we overlooked with the presence of Janna for Divine Ascension, even though they're going to have the bombardment of like dead Karthus running at them over and over and over again. At the very least, Monsoon is a tool that, if Janna is fed enough, is going to kind of recover some of this condition for Divine Ascension. So if they do manage to find a scrappy game post 6, there actually can still be some avenues for them to get control of the wave, right? Now, I think you have like a couple of like closing thoughts here, just as we're about to get into the game and get our setup done, right?
Yeah. So Quinnick, my friend, if you could choose between infinite games but no bacon, or infinite games but no games, what are you choosing?
Oh, the question of the ages. The question asked by Socrates himself. We'll have to answer that in a moment. Actually, there's going to be a very, very short delay, but we still do have to take the delay just to make sure we're synced and giving a high-quality production to you. I will struggle to answer these questions in just a moment. Alrighty, that was a very short break. Welcome back to game number 2 of the Victorious ARAM series with Divine Ascension Obsidian trying to claw their way back from an 0-1 deficit against the first seed of Akuma Katanas. I was asked at the very beginning whether I would prefer unlimited bacon, or unlimited games but no games, or games, unlimited games but no games. And in fact, Divine Ascension...
You just said the same option twice!
Well, that...
Quinnick, are you okay?
That's what it is. It's games but no bacon, or games but no games. That's the question.
You said games but no games twice.
There's no shot I said. You know what? I've had...
Someone please clip it.
I've sent so many job applications out today. Right? Either way, I think I've made my answer clear just by like saying it twice, which is tragic because I meant to pick the bacon, but I've been
no bacon
I've
for
been forced
you.
into this.
I wish so. Sully, I think Sully needs a Nico buff where you can still turn into Grump. Honestly, assert your dominance by being the one and only frog running at you.
Do you know if Ornn Ultimate knocks up minions? It doesn't, right? Or
it knocks everything up except for towers.
Okay.
Maybe next update we'll get towers.
I am just looking for any potential minion cheese out of the Nico here. Just positive interactions with Sully is actually built different, right? That is a lot of damage onto Dow. Hacker and Flash Forwards, they have a mark as well. Urgot getting the first blood, or Gangplank rather, getting the first blood as Troll goes down. They are chasing deep into the health relic, but Karthus does not care. Karthus will gladly flash in and trade more health. A double kill for Akuma. Cafe Chocolata is, Killian is getting the gold for that one. That is immediately a tremendous tempo lead.
Yeah, I'd like to point out, Silas looks like they're opting for Rod of Ages. We saw them hold on to Catalyst of Aeons at the start, but, they stepped back and said, those Guardian items, they trash. As we're seeing, Mike Fixox is going to be going for a little bit of a slam into the W from Yorick. We completely forgot to mention that, but Check Mailbox was there to take advantage.
Yeah, actually, there are 0 champions that can beat Yorick Wall on the side of Akuma. I mean, outside of Urgot rapid firing, but everybody's going to be stuck in there with just mobility. A shutdown for the Silas.
You cheeky goober, Killian. Snuck in and snuck out. Tom Clancy would be proud.
As weird as this sounds, like, I'm I'm even surprised that Caterpillar is going for the Sheen on Yorick. Like, genuinely, I would rather go a full lethality approach in a context like this, right?
I think they're just gonna go front to back with Killian, honestly. So he does the bonk. He do the bonk.
We do the smack upside the head. We get in, we keep fighting, we keep scrapping. That does seem to be more in line with their approach now, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, we do the scrump. And the Ram Jam is going to be online soon. The Wrath of the Forge God is going to be kind of spooky. You know, we're going to call his little Ram boy over. But these barrels have gotten a lot of value so far from Fluke.
Yeah, actually, we should try to have like a Silver Surf encounter going throughout this game, because Gangplank is going to scale like pretty quickly on those now.
248. He's got some time. He's got a little bit.
We're halfway to an upgrade already, though. No, it's 500.
Yeah, it's 500, but you know, couldn't do it faster. Could do it faster. Fluke's the GOAT. They could do it fast. That's a spooky ult to take.
Yeah, actually, Silas uses the Nico ult more effectively than Nico herself if he manages to get in here. Ornn's ultimate online too. The Divine Ascension may have a small opportunity, because the only really significant tool would be the retaliatory Nico ults.
Yeah, Pop Blossom is just a lot of value when you have the mobility to make use of it, but check Mailbox. They're just letting their health bar get chunked away by these barrels, consistently sitting in the same bushes, having the same game, same cupcake, same everything. They're just hanging out, seeing Kubayashi.
Yeah, greeting a bit for the Caitlyn headshot progress here, too. I am curious to see if the Karthus is going to start ulting off cooldown just to keep it cycling, just to do as much damage as possible. Because farming damage is not necessarily a bad strategy here, right? Divine Ascension are retreating for a health relic. Akuma will also possibly take that opportunity, choosing to do so for Karthus mana.
Yeah, just a little bit of mana, because Cafe Chocolate is not getting any of these last hits, so they're not able to get that mana back too efficiently. As we're seeing Sully actually stepping onto that cupcake, that's a good amount of damage that's going on to them, and these ghouls just keep coming.
While we have this small bit of lull state, it's actually kind of interesting. Never mind, we are going.
Never mind, there we go, Killian!
Pop Blossom, immediate combo, but the Pop Blossom plus Requiem, it is actually interrupted by the Janamon soon, so not as much damage. Akuma are turning the fight as Caterpillar is very low. Mikevik's dog cannot fight. Caterpillar trying to trade some damage back. Check Mailbox has been jumped onto. Cafe Chocolate may choose to dive the turret here, is going to do so. Check Mailbox is not getting hit by the Defiles, however. One survivor on the side of Divine Ascension, but it is a very, very poor outcome for a fight that they initiated.
Yeah, the counter Pop Blossom landing onto 4 members is huge, but Killian, he wants more. The little bit of a root, don't care. Run their pockets. There we go, Sully. Next one to fall is going to be Fluke, and it looks like Hacker Room is not quite on the menu. A little bit of poke damage from the Kingslayer. But, yeah, just send them back to the base, get their items. We have a Roa on deck from Where did Check Mailbox go?
I don't know, I haven't checked yet.
Cafe Chocolate, the next one on the chopping block for a moment here. Mike's Big Dog gonna be dodging the Aatrox W with a Mark. Caterpillar for now bonked Troll Gamer, so you know, he might have been sleeping at the keyboard for a second.
Yeah, Heartsteel completed the Mirror God too. I guess I have been biased against this item in the past, but I have had my eyes opened with just how much fighting occurs on this mode, that you do get it stacked very, very, very quickly. So honestly, a bit stronger than it is on Summoner's Rift. Farm priority, Divine Ascension are really funneling absolutely everything into their Caitlyn and Yorick, and meanwhile we have kind of a more even distribution on the side of Akuma. Genuinely a little bit surprised that Gangplank isn't being prioritized like a little more heavily, but it seems that they're really just trying to keep up with the wave clear demands rather than having the luxury to choose exactly who farms what.
I mean, it's a lot of area of effect damage. As we see, Killian has the Requiem. They could just choose to cycle it and move on, and that they will. That is going to be scary to have to deal with as we get going. Killian is going to hyperscale that to the freaking moon.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with the underfarmed Silas just on a Rod of Ages, like that strategy is not quite as strong for them as it is for the Karthus himself. Still, of course, threatening to deal with. Requiem is a very strong spell here when you can't heal. Yeah, well, we have a moment to reflect. A bit of quiet here. Both teams just kind of posturing around these neutral waves without Akuma not really willing to step up unless it's a Karthus.
I mean, there's the Forge God. Sully did not pop the Pop Blossom before hitting the mark. They're punished for that with the Monsoon to push them back, but Fear Beyond Death from Troll is going to be grabbing the Ram Jam. Killian's able to pick up a double kill for their troubles to be able to keep things kind of even. Caterpillar for now in a weird position as Killian's going to be diving in. Does not care about that. There goes Troll. Hackerum is forced back off as Killian's going to have their own little slap fest. The Requiem coming in could get two. There goes one. No, it was only one with the Requiem. I'm sorry.
So this is one of those money trade fights at the end of the day where one team is just slightly worse for wear on health bars than the other, and no one's really making any progress on turrets. So honestly progresses the game very slightly for Akuma. Given Caterpillar's health bar. Or check Mailbox's health bar. Hello.
Out like the dodo, my friend. That's unfortunate, as we're going to be seeing running down his towers. Hacker missing that, but the Pop Blossom onto 3 from Killian. This could be huge. Diving in Sully. There they go. Killian's going to be stepping back. We've successfully stopped this wave for a moment. We can just disengage, have a moment, and Caterpillar might have to sack to the Forge God to be able to find themselves back with some more items in a second here, because their health bar is not looking like they're going to be able to do much.
Yeah, and there's just no viable follow-up to Killian's ultimate, and if that is the cost of holding a wave, then that bodes very poorly. Hackerum is going down to the Abduct. And we do have Mike Vic's dog pressuring forward, just a little bit. Troll Gamer being marked on by 2. The ace in the hole is used. Maiden is out on the map. The Urgot Fear Beyond Death is actually going to whiff, and Divine Ascension are looking poised to take the turret. Akuma die in a catastrophic position on the map where, like, the wave is not favorable for them. Karthus is going to be able to clear it right now. It does cost his life, of course. It does burn Ornn's flash. It does stifle Maiden, so actually Akuma do respond to this pretty well. And now it's a 4v4 with Troll Gamer on very, very low HP, going to try to use the mark to no avail. Pop Blossom is out on 3 after Caterpillar flashes. Mike Vic's dog is taken out right away. Monsoon trying to recover this for Divine Ascension, but it does look like Akuma are going to be able to claim their prizes. A shutdown goes over to Sully. And we are yet again in the game state trademark. Killian chunked out, Hackerum chunked out. We are trading 1-for-1 here again, as is tradition. Check Mailbox's flash is burned, solely looking for more. And the wave is now going into Divine Ascension's turret.
As Sully's life flashed before their eyes, they've got a lot of value out of the ability to have the tricks at the mark, though, to kill them. Mike Vic's dog taking a bite out of her. We're going to be moving forward a little bit. They've gotten a lot of value out of that Maiden, being able to force out an ult. And yes, the Ram Jam, not the best that most recent time, but it's a good amount of tower progress. Killian has been in a really good seat as here comes the Cannon Barrage. Bit of damage. I'm excited to see that later. Fear Beyond Death, though. There goes your Ram.
It's actually a shame. Divine Ascension keep using their cooldowns at a time where it's just not getting them much value. Like, if that wave had been on the turret at the time of the Cannon Barrage, then we could have actually seen more chunk, and Divine Ascension may have progressed this game, but you know, we're 3 minutes off the end of game 1, and we are still stuck on tier 1 turrets.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little song I wrote. You know, you might want to sing a note for note. Don't worry about it, as Cafe Chocolate is going to be the first one to fall. Caterpillar for now with a little bit of a bonk, pulled back into trouble. Cafe Chocolate going to hit them with a little bit of martyrdom here, as Hackerum's going to continue poking back and forth. The Ram Jam is out. Fluke's health is not looking okay. They popped the Citrus already, but Killian's going to be able to make sure they're running it down with the Aatrox ultimate. They're going to be the World Ender running amok. There's just so much movement as they're able to buffer a route under the tower, though, as Hackerum is going to be the next to fall from the likes of Dow. Killian survives this, is going to get ready to dive Troll Gamer, though. There's so much healing. A triple kill coming out. We're going to be seeing a little bit of game progress as Cafe Chocolate is going to try to hold this, but it's going to cost them their life in just a moment as we see Dow knocking on the door. Heaven's Gates are calling. There's the Ghost to be able to try to hold it. They're up in the air. Kingslayer for a rampage as Killian is diving for more. My man, dude, he's going to be the next on the chopping block, though. Health bars aren't good. We got some barrels. That's 2 going out in the form of Fluke. 3! Oh my god, it's all down to Caterpillar for now. We've got a lot of game progress, but this is insane.
Oh, no.
Oh, Caterpillar. There we go.
Okay, so what just happened here? So Karthus does die eventually, but not in defense of the tier 1 turret. And so Divine Ascension do manage to crack this. And all of the Yorick little goobers kept the wave at Akuma's turret for an extended period. So there is going to be somebody to match this wave by the time Akuma gets here. Now, how well can Silas alone defend? Not very well. But here comes the Goon Squad. And ultimately, that does leave Divine Ascension in a good game state. Now, they may choose to start fighting right away again, as is tradition, of course. And in fact, yes, Silas in with the big Pop Blossom onto 3, solely exploded immediately. Killian's health is being traded backwards. Fear Beyond Death does land, but the Call of the Forge God does land onto 2. Urgot is very, very chunked up. Akram is trying to sustain himself, but cannot do so into the barrage of Caitlyn auto attacks. And now we have a 1-for-2 in favor of the team who already has a tempo lead. And Divine Ascension may actually be making this a pretty competitive series.
Yeah, they got a little bit of fight in them, but we're seeing some better trades coming out as we're seeing the time progress. The Pop Blossoms have been a little bit overzealous. Honestly, that might not even be the best ult to be able to run some of these fights now that we're looking at it. Being able to keep that health bar up to avoid the Fear Beyond Death by using that World Ender was huge. And yeah, that was a Requiem of all time.
See,
listen, they only got one item, they're nervous.
I kind of miss having First Strike. Like, yes, you're going to be taking damage all the time. You're not going to have it 24/7. But money ulting gives you so much dopamine. Just imagine it there. Oh, you could be farming in the base, like just actually making bigger purchases. You're a big spender, baby.
Got that monkey lizard brain on deck, I see. Going, button, money button, me money.
Almost makes me tempted to take Futures Market and ARAM, but its use cases are just so limited.
Yeah. I mean, Cannon Barrages could be huge. We're seeing Akuma pushing forward. This maiden is not long for this world. Barrels have been huge. Oh my lord, Cafe Chocolata not able to sustain those ghoulies that time of year. You know, spooky season's over. Pack it back into the cemetery.
Here comes the retaliation from Divine Ascension, though. Their own Cannon Barrage solely is taken out right away. The Karthus explodes in the Yorick wall, but will create this zone control, preventing much further retaliation. Killian is going forwards onto X-Fluke, will trade without getting the kill. Akram is pushing forwards. There is a Monsoon trying to prevent the Urgot execute as Urgot does go down. Divine Ascension of 4 strong to Akuma's 2. Troll Gamer trying to clear the wave, sustains off of the health relic. X-Fluke is the only hope of keeping more going. Yorick summons the ghouls, tanking the turret to actually keep the pressure going, which is such a cool strategy here. Yorick getting so much more value than we anticipated. And it looks like that's going to claim almost the tier 2 turrets. Caterpillar going to sacrifice his life for that one. Caitlyn loses Flash. That turret is a stiff breeze away from falling.
How would you define a gas as stiff?
I've never questioned that figure of speech before.
Yeah, we'll get into it in a little bit. You know, we got the philosophical questions on deck as Mike Vick's dog is going to buffer some. We got the Pop Blossom in the back pocket of Killian. They're popping it to Flash. Only able to get one, though, as Cafe Chocolata is just going to flash on in the 4-man Pop Blossom. And we're going to be seeing Mike Vick's dog falling soon after the Requiem in a moment here. The Hex Gates from Caterpillar for now. We're going to be able to keep this fight alive as Fluke is caught right under the tower. Tier 1 is going to fall, keeping them here. Troll Gamer jumping right on in. The World Ender, the Darkin, is going to be able to make sure this ace happens. We might be seeing a little bit of an upset here. Akuma has got some legs under them.
It's a disaster, and they have executes available with these death timers as well, even if they don't claim the inhib. Akuma should get a really clean death here. Oh, barely misses it, so 2 of them are going to give over gold, but that is a catastrophic initiation from Divine Ascension.
And they used the World Ender already! Killian, no!
Okay, in fairness, that is a level 16 Silas ultimate. The cooldown is very short, and we don't value World Ender very highly, but no, this Divine Ascension are suddenly on the ropes, suddenly down goals, suddenly also losing their inhibitor, and now you just have to win a very, very honest fight, because frankly, there's inhibitor deficit, in fact, because like, I'd forgotten about the state of the turret here. So Killian trying to make some space for his turret to fall. Will successfully do so. Now all you have to do is bring champions forward, not necessarily the wave, if you wanted to kill that inhibitor. Yeah. With the respawning champions on Akuma, they will have a pretty decent shot at defense. You don't need
no!
Oh, it's devastating. And now, like, Akuma giveth and Akuma taketh away. Soli is down. Divine Ascension are taking the inhibitor. We're just staggering deaths back and forth, and all of a sudden, like, Akuma are cornered again.
The Fear Beyond Death of Zonia's is so good. Monsoon's gonna be trying to take those health bars back, but Killian, he just wants to go forward. He has the survival instinct of Harry and Ron if Hermione was not there. As Akuma Fluke tries to get that with the flash, but they're exhausted. There's not much you can do. The Nexus is gonna be siege. Cafe Chocolato with the Requiem, but it's just before they died, so it's not gonna go off. That's game 2 going to Dow.
I don't believe it. It's what we've been hoping for all split. This is a very competitive series all of a sudden. Tied 1-1. We're going at least to 4 games, and that is... I am so happy, right? I mean, it was kind of a game of throws there at the end, but it was a slow, gradual game, like playing for incremental tempo advantages, and like with some very exciting fights. Like I'm super, super happy with that game, and I am really, really interested to see what happens here now that Akuma are actually being a little bit pressured in the series.
Yeah, Fluke giveth and Fluke tooketh away, but that I too enjoyed pushing the button on the hex gates when I shouldn't.
Those hexes, they're so tempting. I remember when they came out just how many times I inted directly into them and how mad I was every single time I did. Like it's such an embarrassing mistake, to be honest, because all you have to do is like look. So I mean, Akuma are a strong team, and I would be genuinely shocked if they got tilted enough from this performance, right? Because I'm expecting to see enough mental fortitude that we'll still see some very solid performances next game, but we'll see how well they are able to shake it off, right? As much as I would like to talk about this a lot, again, as Doublecaster producer, we do have to go to break pretty immediately.
Googa guy.
Yeah, but I am so excited to see what happens in this game 3. So don't go anywhere. We'll introduce the pools after this break.
I have to look up the
All
thing.
right, welcome back to game number 3 for the Victorious ARAM series. We have a tied score of 1-1, which is extremely exciting. Now, Akuma Katanas and Divine Ascension Obsidian have some completely new pools with 1 or 2 familiar faces sprinkled into the series here. So, Loki, why don't you kind of introduce yourselves to the options that both teams have?
Yeah, I mean, you remember Zach, your good old pal from back in high school who was maybe a little bit too obsessed with the metal slide at recess. Yeah, he's in here. He's going to pop the bounce house for Dow this time. And we saw a lot of value come out from it previously alongside Kennen. Actually, this could be a lot of good stuff. There's no more Azir to shuffle that one away. But also we got Rel, Vigar, and Misfortune. Oh my, there's just a lot of Wombo potential in a itty bitty area that can happen with those baby cages when you put those up. But Akuma Katanas, I honestly am kind of curious to see what they're gonna pull with this. Maokai and Mumu, those two seem fairly interchangeable as just, generic big guy who stun many thing. Maokai does tend to be a champion you see a lot on ARAM over a Mumu, even just because, my ult gets to be useful here, is kind of the thought process. But then we have some things that are just annoying. We got the Corkies, we've got the brand. Assassins in ARAM do get a bit of a bonus, so Zed could be grabbed as a little bit of a marksman for a hire, but Senna I think is going to be the real linchpin for Akuma Katanas. There's just been so much value that comes out of the range scaling on Senna in ARAM. Being able to have that constant bombardment from afar is incredible.
Yeah, for sure. And it is interesting to try to figure out what direction Akuma is going to go into, right? Because on the
Mm-hmm.
one hand, yes, Senna. On the other hand, like Zed, right? So are they
Mm-hmm.
going to gravitate towards the Karma to kind of generate some extra wave clear and create some space for the Senna to scale while also having some pressure, right? Because Karma and Brand are on the table. Pair that with a front line, and like there may be a comfortable path to scaling through the first 10 minutes of the game, especially given the pace we just saw in game 2. On the other hand, like if Divine Ascension has like anything to supplement, of course, that core of Rel, Vagar, Misfortune in terms of wave clear, there is a genuine chance that they can contest the pools of Akuma Katana, that they can just like create a faster win than what those champions can handle.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, for looking at it from that angle, it almost seems as though Zed is kind of essential for just keeping the game like a little bit fast, right? For actually
Mm-hmm.
giving Akuma some of that pressure, just so they're not vulnerable to these kinds of picks, right? We are starting to see what Akuma, Katanas, and Divine Ascension Obsidian have actually chosen. Of course, the Senna is locked in. We wouldn't have it any other way, but it is going to be supplemented by Rakan, Vladimir, Renekton, and Talia. So they're actually using solo frontline Renekton, supported by Rakan shields, to make way for 3 scaling champions with actually very poor wave clear in the early game. So they're taking a bit of a gamble. Now, on Divine Ascension Obsidian, with their Hecarim, Rel, Alistar, Vega, and Neelicomp, that is exactly the kind of wombo style that we were looking for, notably without some of the wave clear that they could have drafted into. So it
Mm-hmm.
is possible. It is possible that Renekton and Rakan are able to stifle until Vladimir hits 6, until Vladimir is capable of generating these burst combos, until he is able to retaliate to the wombo. And I worry there's a universe in which this composition has played directly into Akuma's hand. But that said, the beatdown potential is still, of course, there, and there is going to be a very
Mm-hmm.
critical weakness in those first couple of minutes in the game for Akuma.
Yeah, these comps back and forth are looking very scary. You got the Hemoplague from Vladimir, making it so there's so much more damage you're exposed to, even if he's not the one that's mainly hyper scaling. That's just an extra 20% goes a long way. And, with these scary times, we've created a really competitive setup so far with the help of our bot. I have a single question for you because, a little bit scared of what we created. Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
That's our question this time? Gosh, I
We're
had to
getting a little
answer.
philosophical.
I mean, I just had to answer the bacon question. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
it is so, we're really answering the questions of the universe here. And so after this spectator delay, we will try to come up with some answer as we see what happens at the level 1 in game 3. Very important game for the series. Starts to generate momentum here, so don't go anywhere. That's the wrong thing that I just cut to. Hi, how are you doing? Our faces are on screen. All right.
We're looking pretty. We're looking pretty.
Welcome back to game number 3 of the Victorious ARAM series. And in running around, does God live in heaven because he too fears what he has created? Well, I certainly fear what this Neela has created. The flashless tech that we've been honestly looking for the entire time. In like this kind of underground debate during the league about whether Flash is even worthwhile on the Abyss. Neela certainly doesn't think so. I am super interested to see how that pans out.
Yeah, they got a good wombo combo going for them. I'm worried. So they don't have to go for any getting in power. They don't have too many things that having Flash helps you dodge other than, I guess, the Grand Entrance. But you're going to anticipate getting locked by that a little bit. You want to use Nyla's W to be able to... Speaking of Grand Entrance, under the tower, Mike Vic's dog horse becomes Ponce to be able to save that. But the Baby Gate, just before it falls, is able to claim its first victim. Going into the hands of Killian. There goes our troll gamer.
That was fast.
Anyway, as I was saying, never mind, you just want to start talking, but it's going to keep on moving. Check mailbox is going to be the next default. Troll Gamer really likes ramming his face into these walls there, as they're going to have their health bar drop low. Once again, the horse will be coming pants, and the mark goes a little bit wide. Mike Vic's dog does not have the movement speed to avoid an early grave, as Killian just dives straight on into it. There it goes, a double kill for Cafe, triple for Cafe Chocolata, and that's a lot of gold coming into this Talia.
This is the worst start for Divine. Okay, I don't believe what I'm seeing. Guys, I have changed everything, and we still have the wrong overlay up.
You know, let's just vibe with it. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Let it be a scuff time. Now that we have half a second, Caterpillar for now is got the jubilant. Is that Jubilant Veil? That is one heck of a word to be able to avoid Renekton stuns and, you know, Senna autos? There's a little bit of value there, as Hakarum is just chilling into the baby cage. You know, avoids getting hit by the little bit of a meteor there, and Check Mailbox is going to be knocking people up, going around. He's a little grumpy, gets a stun onto Hakarum, but not much is going to be there to show for it other than losing 400 health.
Ouch. Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting my bearings again.
Take your breath, you know, pop the inhaler, we're chilling.
Yeah, it's collecting souls. That's therapeutic, honestly, just picking up all the +8 gold. Makes me feel good and warm and happy inside. But no, catastrophic start for Divine Ascension Obsidian. This is a 2,000 gold lead from the very beginning, with these intensely hard scaling champions benefiting from it. This is honestly a bit of an old school approach from them, right? Grell is going to get caught up, immediately destroyed. The Vagar Cage is going to trade very little damage back. This is the scary part of this sort of wombo nowadays on ARAM. The Hex Gates really do not give you as much time to breathe, and Wave Clear is king. Where is the Wave Clear on Divine Ascension? The prophecy has come to pass. The thing where I was like, we were worried that they played into Akuma's hand.
Ooga ya googas, I got a asteroid for you. You know, Magnum Buck recently taught Vygar Draco Meteor, and we're gonna see it coming on out there. Nice little stun combo coming out on Cafe Chocolata. Their health bar, there they go. That's a shutdown. The quickness is gonna be able to drop his health bars real low. Hakarum is all the way in here though to get his double kill. Caterpillar for now very low. Mike Vic's dog lands the mark. Could go for more. The ghost has been popped, but just before they can get in, caught at the gate. There we go. Mike Vic's dog is all on their lonesome. A really well-placed Q from Fluke was able to keep Caterpillar for now from following up with anything. And I guess that's a time you off flash.
Yeah, it's a slaughter, right? I mean, there's no Guardians items on Divine Ascension. How can they win, of course? But you know, on a serious note, like, they just do not have the tools. I mean, now, finally, the Apotheosis comes through. It does trade one more kill, but X-Luke is slashing out. This is a wombo combo.
Huh?
Only wombo. No real cleanup. And so as Check Mailbox goes down, like, where's the re-engage? It's Mike Vic's dog, W2. It's Hakarim, like, ultimate, like, half on cooldown.
We're just gonna ignore the mailbox play, you know?
Yeah. It didn't happen. It was not on my screen.
Yeah.
I have observed nothing. I like that Divine Ascension are funneling all their gold into Neela. They have to. It's their only way of, like, actually getting some damage. Like maybe I'd like to see a couple more stacks on Vagar, but, like, he's generating it through champion combat. I'd like to see, like, a little more through Hekarim, but how can Hekarim reasonably step up into Talia W, right? Check Mailbox is going for a small play here, marking forwards for a headbutt, trying to create some space so that their carries may farm. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what the approach should be.
You know, Neela got the lasso of truth to be able to try to help clear these waves, but they're not a miracle worker, right? This tower is gonna get chunked away. They need to be able to try to scrounge up gold somewhere, and the only place you can really fight is under your turret. As Check Mailbox, they're grabbing Sully. That's not who he wants. Caterpillar for now was able to get the Jubilant Void, the W, and Troll Gamer is stunned under a tower, but he's so big. He's just a big goon, and Mike Vic's dog is going to live from the shield. Cafe Chocolate looking a little goofy as his flashes are traded, but here comes another ghost. Akuma, they're diving all the way. They're here for it, you know, it's a Hallmark movie all over again as they're able to grab that just before the well can save them. And, you know, Sully's chilling. They got the grand entrance. Caterpillar for now, they want to look spooky, but this is like when your little cousin says he's good at Fortnite, you know, you just kind of run him down. Caterpillars for now, they're going to be getting these trades. That's some gold in their pocket, but these are full items for Akuma Katanas off of that.
Yeah, and look at the consequence of the kills, too. Like, as Talia and Vladimir are pushing forwards, they're already back to defend this wave, and there's no range for Divine Ascension to pressure the turret. Yes, they are initiating, though. The Hecarim ultimate finds 2. Vladimir and Renekton taken out right away. Only Cafe Chocolate remains to defend against these 3, but here come the reinforcements. Here come the goons through the Hexgate. Rakan's grand entrance does take down Check the Mailbox. Killian trying to pressure from the side as Mike Vic's dog is trying to create some space for the Neela to hit the turret. The actual real value to this play.
Yeah.
Will trade their life. It looks like it was not in vain, though. Turrets go down. No Apotheosis available, so Caterpillar for now is just trying to die. It's like 4 Bowson's Law here. Honestly, good recovery from Divine Ascension. Like, that is about as good as you can hope for.
Even though we're as good as you can hope, those health bars are gone. We're seeing people just run it up. Magnum Buck quivering in his little boot straps, got the baby cage out, but that's a long cooldown on Event Horizon right now with how often people are right at your door. Kind of spooky. We saw some pretty good play with the Ferromancy into the Crashdown, but we have a 3-man knockout coming up from Check Mailbox, but it might not yield too much. Troll Gamer is vibing onto the side. Here comes the quickness to be able to make things just a little bit more messy, so the Magnet Storm is not able to get full value on a Fluke. There's just no engaging with Dao as Hacker. He's just stepping wherever he wants. Like, Mike Vic's dog is going to Ferromancy Sully. What do we get from that? What do we get?
We get a significant HP advantage at the end of the play, regardless of any little bits. Vhagar is taken out. Tier 2 is under siege. Mike Vic's dog is trying to retaliate on Renekton here, but with a full Fury Bar, dominance going. Caterpillar for now does very little damage here. No Zeal on the Neela, very little crits. Triple kill for Troll Gamer. Killian is the sole survivor. Will trade back that 1 death, but it is a single kill. Hecarim is eventually going to put out the damage here. X-Fluke is farming souls in Hecarim's face. That's
and they don't even get punished. Hagerim lives. Never mind. Here comes the Hex Gates. We got 2 reinforcements on the way. The pool to dodge so much into a crit queue. There they go. Hagerim is so low. They're gonna be desperately seeing Dow try to take it. There's a crash down. This man is still lit. Fluke dies for your sins.
I love watching the Vladimir just run around like perma healing. Like you cannot generate a condition advantage on this champion. Almost getting up to full HP. The haste, like the early Fiendish Codex here as well. There's barely any damage items on the side of Divine Ascension, right? Hakerim is flashing back in with an ultimate. Caterpillar's dead. Mike Vic's dog not long from this world either. Magnum Buck is gone. Hakerim health check? Yep, that looks like a full HP Vladimir. Okay. And the crazy thing
I thought you said a Hakerim? That was so toxic.
That would have been pretty good. The inhib is gone. Like, Hakerim. Oh.
Close enough, you know?
I feel like my roommate's a linguistics major. I'd better get some speech therapy.
Yeah. You know, before long, you'll sound better than Nigel Thornberry as we're going to be cracking these towers. The baby gate goes up. No one's caught in it. Cafe Chocolata just flirting with the idea of death. Hakerim, we know he's going to live. Like, it's the Titan does bleed. Killian does not have the health bar to continue to sustain. Troll Gamer stunned up, but Fluke from afar is just raining in so much damage. They flashed into the event horizon, though, so Magnum Buck gets to live for just a little bit longer. He's able to grab that, but we might be seeing a Penta for this game. Akuma Fluke is just chilling. Cafe Chocolata, kind of not a great spot for her, but the W does land. You don't need to step into that well. There's the Penta. Let's go, Fluke. That's running in the last of this game in just a moment here. Killian, all the King's horses, all the King's men. Here comes the cavalry. Fluke might not be able to get put back together again. The crash down does not land. The quickness from Sully is able to keep them off for just a little bit longer. There we go. Fluke will be getting shut down into a grand entrance to be able to make their retreat. But this is not the spot you want to be for Dow.
If there's any consolation, Fluke is building as though it's Season 10, Season 11, like, so, you know, whew, but, I mean, that's not much solace with this completely exposed Nexus. There is going to be something back here, like, a Troll Gamer is trying to sustain up here with Fury, is extremely tanky with these items.
It was a 2v5 for so long.
Vladimir's in the fray. We have a Tides of Blood hitting 4. We have a Hecarim flashing into 4. With the next Empowered Q back up. Senna contributing from base here almost to take out Mike Vic's dog. And the health bars are so low. Hecarim is not going to be killed by this. Apotheosis actually does go off this time, but it's too little too late. As Megan Buck does trade back to Vladimir, but imagine even approaching X-Luke. This Senna has, like, what? How many souls at this point? 90.
I got enough.
12 minutes.
Yeah.
90 souls.
Enough. Yeah. I mean, Killian was able to kill them once. They might be able to do it again. The Flash is able to get on there, but they're stunned up, so they can't even get more. Their Onslaught was actually down, so they're not able to get much. They're going to be trying to hold on to this one. Check Mailbox doesn't have ult either, so they're going to be the next one to fall. It is a slaughter as Fluke from afar just keeps tapping their way through here. The Ghost is able to get them to dodge another crash shot. The Grand Entrance is good on the 2, and we're just going to see them. 1 shot, 2 shot. We need the 3rd. Here comes Mike Vic's dog. Does not have the health to live, and that's going to be the game going into the hands of Akuma. A very convincing one, too.
Was that our fastest game of the split? It's close, if not actually the fastest game.
Official time, 12 minutes, 47 seconds. That is the fastest one of the quarterfinals, at least.
Of course,
that's not
yeah.
where we're at. You know?
So, I mean, that is a hard defeat to stomach on the side of Divine Ascension. After clawing your way to a very slow victory in Game 2, you're then just completely blown out of the water in Game 3, and I really do have to blame their strategy going into it. Just kind of common misconceptions that most of us held at the beginning of this split. Divine Ascension are falling victim to them.
Yeah, you know, those old misconceptions, you know, they have a funny way of navigating their way back into this modern world. I have a single question looking at this team real quick, and we're just gonna... ¿Dónde está the combo? This is really cool. We got a lot of wombo pieces, but there wasn't really any substance on this team. I would have much rather seen, coming out from Dow, even Cassiopeia, like, Vygar, it's cool. You can, you know, you got a big funny button. You push your ult, someone vanishes, probably. But they had Misfortune on deck. They had even Kane, just little pieces to be able to help wave clear. I would have been happy seeing a Rise.
Yeah, no, Rise wave clear would have made such a huge difference. Like, a Wombo comp with no wave clear and no cleanup in ARAM, like, has to kind of just pray until level 6, and unfortunately Divine Ascension were falling apart from the very beginning. Yeah, even Kane, like, I do like the WMAX Kane on ARAM. I don't think it's optimal in most cases, but would have actually been a big wave clear. Like, I noticed that, like, you know, champions like Alawi, champions like Kane, like some of these linear skill shot champions sometimes are unusually the piece that teams like this are looking for when they're trying to find some wave clear supplement, right? Now, how Divine Ascension are going to strategize to try to make a comeback in Game 4, we can't know exactly yet because we don't have the pools on screen for you right now. So, if it's all right with you all, we are going to go to a quick break. We are going to get those things on screen and prepare for game number 4, which could be the deciding game of the quarterfinals. Don't go anywhere. Very exciting match. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to game number 4 of the Victorious ARAM series. Unfortunately, Loki did have a minor emergency and had to leave, so it's just going to be me for the remaining games of this series. But, we've done it once before. We can do it again. So we'll see how this goes. What are the pools for Divine Ascension Obsidian versus Akuma? Katanas here. Now, we have a couple of familiar faces again. Rakan is back and Neela is back, but of course on opposite teams here. What direction are we thinking to go? Now, Divine Assumption has a lot of good kind of poke champions here. They've got tools to keep their distance. They've got Ashe. They've got Azir. They've got Emilio to supplement that, although his healing will not be full value too. Brand is, of course, a champion who can wreak havoc throughout a team who is likely to be grouped on something like ARAM, right? So it seems like there's a bunch of these champions in the middle where you can choose to go for kind of an assassin direction, and that has seen success on these modes, but it seems like such a no-brainer to just kind of grab these top champions on the list to supplement with a front line, a brand. But then what could Akuma Katanas do to retaliate against that? Orianna is on the table. Silas is on the table. Neela is on the table. It is so easy to find, Orianna with a ball, plus a champion with Mark, even if that champion is Samira, frankly, if you really, really, really wanted to go into that direction. They are a little bit starved for Orthodox frontliners. I mean, yes, Gragas and Maokai are both here and would be fairly compelling options. Cho'Gath with a Mark is actually unusually good as an initiator, where he would not ordinarily be on Summoner's Rift. So we could look for that, but where are we getting our physical damage from if we go kind of in those directions, right? So damage spread would matter with an Ornn on the table. So I am expecting to see one of Samira or Kiana or maybe Belveth Neela, like one of those champions kind of grabbed up here. There's not a lot more speculation to do here. In fact, we are seeing what Divine Ascension has locked in. It is completely opposite to the approach that I would have defaulted to, my first thought. So they have locked in Ornn, Brand, Jax, Rakan, Viego. So they're taking a much more melee approach. They are basically trying to permanently push the tempo with these melee champions. Use Jax to get Rakan in, use Viego to play cleanup on that, and then just have your single source of backline DPS who is consistently getting the farm priority. Honestly, not that bad of an approach, assuming that Akuma Katanas can't deal with the permanent fighting. Now, unfortunately, it looks like they may be able to do exactly that, because the composition that they have locked in is Orianna, Neela, Maokai, Belveth, and Silas. And 4 of those 5 champions, Silas excluded, are very, very, very good at actually receiving engage, especially in terms like Neela here, who is dealing with engage from Jax Viego primarily, almost entirely auto-attack based damage. And it's looking spicy. Now, to Divine Ascension Obsidian's credit, they have drafted a composition that does cover more bases than last time, right? They should not just sit here and bleed on waves over and over and over and over again. And in fact, it's more likely that that happens to Akuma Katanas. But interestingly enough, if the Silas doesn't Q-max, that is 1 wave clear champ versus 1 wave clear champ, right? Everybody else is just going to be fighting. Mage versus mage on the wave. It's exact direct parallels, actually. We have a tank versus a tank, we have a mage versus a mage, and then we have effectively 3 skirmishers if you want to kind of bend the definition and call Rakan a skirmisher too. The analogy broke down a little bit at the end, but yeah, I mean, I do think there is a slight draft edge to Akuma Katanas, who are leading in the series, but that's just, of course, my opinion. And I have definitely been surprised with kind of the dynamics of ARAM before. It is possible that a brand damage just kind of overwhelms Orianna in the very, very, very early game. And that's about all of the off-the-dome thoughts I've got here, right? Is there anything really sad that we kind of abandoned? Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like Ashe would have gotten some pretty good value. I don't really have any criticisms with what Akuma's chosen too much. Right? Would their conf be dramatically improved with a Gragas in play? Maybe a Gragas in place of Silas could actually. That's the one little thing maybe, but All right, so the spectator delay is about to end, which does mean that I have to go on another very quick loading break just to make sure that all of the scenes and stuff are put together properly. So I shall see you guys in a moment for Game 4 of the quarterfinals, potentially the last game of the night if this draft edge does actually translate to a win from Akuma, unless, of course, Divine Ascension put on a really compelling show. Don't go anywhere. And here we are, game number 4, Divine Ascension Obsidian versus Akuma Katanas. This could be it. Now, quick Guardian item check. Wow, Divine Ascension really hates their Guardian items. And I'm not seeing any flashless setups here at all in the game. Mike Vic's dog goes for kind of a straight engage here. Both teams are posturing. Who wins the level 1? Belveth is able to kind of dodge away from there. You just look at the difference of philosophy on display here as our teams are starting to fight. We've got one team, 5 Guardian items, and the team with 5 Guardian items are taking quite a lot more health. It isn't actually just a stat difference. Traded 1 for 1 so far. Killian is trying to go bigger on the Viego reset, but we'll find very little. Dow are extremely chunked, but checked mailbox is still able to output some damage here. And the situation slightly favors Akuma at the very beginning of the game. Very slightly, though. Whoa! We're in here. Hakaram really wants to trade this. Yeah. No more Jax. Bye-bye, Jax. So it is a game of mages here. As we're watching people misposition and get caught, trade 1 for 1 here, both tanks falling. It is primarily the mages who are supposed to drive this. Killian does not care about that at all. We don't value the wave one bit. X-Fluke is flashing to try to barely survive, not going to burn down, but there are 2 champions on the side of Akuma who are just not in any condition to contribute whatsoever. Troll Gamer going to try to get 1 Royal Maelstrom to find some value, will not do so. The Belveth reset is barely using the wrong one, but it's a double kill for the Viego, resetting as Neil here, going to proc the Jubilant Veil. Wukong Grand Entrance knocking up 2. Divine Ascension are fighting back. Killian pressing forward still. Hakram flashes out, solely going deeper onto the Viego, but just going to go into their doom. And a 3rd kill for the Divine Ascension. A 4th with Caterpillar here. If we can get onto Hakram, Jax is traded back. Killian does not care too much. Belveth going forwards. It's chaos. It's madness. It's a series of isolated skirmishes that nobody is really winning definitively. But Akuma do maintain the wave at their turret. They're taking some chip damage here. They're farming safely. That's that's a lot. That's 16 kills in 2.5 minutes. It's a little bit faster than our game number 2, I think. Caterpillar is trying to do something with the Counter-Strike, going to stun up the Maokai. Jubilant Veil is contesting a lot of damage here. Apotheosis comes out right now. Troll Gamer trying to put out some damage on the back end. There is a Viego reset. There's also a Belveth reset, however, and that is the one tying higher impact. Shockwave catches one on the back end. X-Fluke is forwards with the mark. It's a full ace out of seemingly nowhere for Akuma. A lot of very low health bars. Are they going to find a successful execute at the end? It looks like not. Unless Hakuro manages to hide right here. Don't go for a fight. Oh, Hakuro! Going to give the shutdown over to Bel'Veth, which is unfortunate. Divine Ascension are trying to strike back with their timers here. Soli is caught up. 3 are dead. No wave means no structure damage. However, just gold back in your pockets, which is gold you need to stay competitive. So good on them for finding it. Even so, the wave clear has arrived. Orianna is here, and so there shall be no damage. And what position does that put us in? Well, Bel'Veth and Neela are the recipients of the farm for Akuma, and meanwhile, Divine Ascension are not really thinking about farm priority at all. They're just spreading across everybody. They are baiting out some cooldowns on the Ornn right away to set up for the Maokai ultimate, which is very well done from the Bel'Veth. Rakan Grand Entrance, there is a big CC chain back onto Akuma. It's going to claim Soli's life, and it's going to trade some health. So the single range champion is looking for more. Barely not caught. Cafe Chocolata kites that out beautifully as the rest of Akuma collapses inwards, finding 3 kills. And a bit of a chunk onto Rakan. Great bait from Orianna here. Are these utility champions really going to be enough to keep them off? Well, Hakrum's trying to trade some HP. X-Fluke is going to take tower aggro abruptly, going to fall to Mike Fix Dog. Unfortunately, the bit of the combat gambit doesn't really pan out in terms of structure damage, but the Shockwave will claim 2 more. Caterpillar for now trying to get down Hakurum. Retreating to the health relics, which aren't quite here. I wonder if I have... I don't have objective timers that I can set up here, which is a bit unfortunate. We are currently watching Divine Ascension Obsidian get a couple of kills here. We are watching the Viego reset 3 times now. Brand picking up a kill. Has the Leandries completed already. Bel'Veth on a Trinity Force build. Looking for some durability here. Not the usual option. Orianna's taken out. That's an important member of Akuma. Divine Ascension are diving even further. They're going to lose their Viego Orianna. The health bar's trading. They are trying to deal with the turret on top of taking out some enemies here. They know they have to die, and the tempo is good for their deaths, but they are giving a lot of gold while dying here, as well as Rakan's Flash and Ultimate. Yes, it is pretty good on the turrets. And yes, Akuma are going to struggle to retaliate, especially with Check Mailbox coming back on the map, right? So the odds are still pretty decent for a first turret going over to Divine Ascension. But we were definitely hoping to not be 800 gold behind with that series of attempted executes. So that's finding a good knock-up, but getting knocked up in turn as the Royal Maelstrom does very little. Ornn forced to ultimate Ornn. Yeah, Ornn trying to ultimate to follow that up. The play gets pretty disengaged by the Maokai ultimate, but results in chunk onto Mike Fix Dog, who is clearly not building into an early Warmox this time around, if that Aegis of the Legion is to be believed. Bel'Veth is frankly not able to contribute anything but 1 knockup from this position, so we'll see if Akuma are able to play around their bush as well. See, as you can see, if we look at this from Divine Ascension's perspective, it's a little bit scary. A big shockwave from Cafe Chocolata, chunking the entirety of Divine Ascension. Their health bars don't exist. Their turret is almost gone. It'll just take a couple of auto attacks here and there. Hakurum trying to pressure forwards into the bush. Rakan CC is down. Killian is going for some, trying to reset onto Bel'Veth, but unable to find the Heartbreaker. Caterpillar for now flashes forwards onto a critical member, but does not take them out. Apotheosis trying to peel even further. Magnum Buck is going to go down, but is going to trade Soli, the champion who Akuma is totally fine to give up. It is a 4-for-1. The turret is going down. Hakurum is pushing even further. May even find the ace onto check mailbox. Of course, will as everybody dives. Bel'Veth is healing. They are just starting to respawn. Unlikely that Akuma are going to find some clean deaths here, but it is a very winning position for them as they are trying to make a statement. Nobody takes 2 games off of Akuma Katanas. Divine Ascension are going to take their constellation kills. Viego is the one getting extremely fed. We would hope that it's Brand, but, you know, even... The problem with that one is that Brand doesn't even use the resources that well. You can get a couple of items, but you mostly benefit as Brand with, like, income by getting durability. So... yeah, who does benefit the most? on the side of Divine Ascension. Jax, maybe? Either way, we may ponder the questions of League of Legends economy, or we can watch the Manta Ray be slaughtered. Ornhorn is used, but the Shockwave interrupts it fully and completely. Divine Ascension are really struggling in this fight. Viego not able to find a reset right here. Trying to get the kill. It does come through, but Viego falls. Killian cannot get any more. Cafe Chocolata flashes forward for the slow. The members of Divine Ascension are retreating. It is a 3 versus 3 with health advantage for Akuma. So the Orianna definitely wants more. Kiting backwards against the Pillar of Flame. Hakuram does push forward, not immediately supported. Rakan finding a good quickness. The CC is threatening the backline pretty hard. Divine Ascension may be finding a fight, as Akuma may have bitten off a bit more than they can chew. Caterpillar for now also overextending though, as Troll Gamer returns on the Belveth. A good Royal Maelstrom closes that out. Hakuram retreating. A flash forwards from the Belveth. Neela following in. We can't really see it. We'll have to zoom. As Killian... Oh, there may be a big Viego reset here. But the Neela W actually interrupts Viego ultimate here. Does not matter for the outcome of the fight. It was terrifying here. Killian does not want to let go of this series that easily. 18 kill Viego at 9 minutes. And, you know, Viego really doesn't use the gold that badly these days. It's definitely coming in handy for Divine Ascension. I may have to think before I speak a little bit. Big chunk onto Orianna. The Shockwave cannot resolve. And so actually Divine Ascension are just diving the turret. They're trying to push the tempo here. Check Mailbox is hitting the turret. It is a 1 versus 4 at this point, as Soli is slowly trying to get in. The Maokai ultimate is available. They're just hitting the turret. They're trying to avoid X-Fluke as much as possible. It is costing them HP. The Ornhorn is not going to get much more. X-Fluke is not actually the target of that. It's just Soli. And so Neela gets a humongous gold injection, roughly on par with Viego, I would imagine. Yeah, very close. And so Divine Ascension throw away their lives for major structure damage, which is, as we've seen multiple times, a pretty reasonable strategy on ARAM. However, the way they go about doing it probably had some room for optimization there, I will say. So now, you know, they don't actually respawn fast enough to deal with this tier 2 siege. Not entirely. The turret will fall for sure. It's just, does Akuma actually win this follow-up fight? Apotheosis does not deal very much damage. Akuma X-Fluke is very deep. Troll Gamer is trying to provide some support here. The Orianna is still alive but being threatened by Killian. Cafe Chocolata has no shockwave. Hakuram is jumped on. Heals very briefly. Going to trade back Caterpillar, but losing just your Jax for the entirety of Akuma, except Orianna, the one champion who can maybe hold this if you're... No! There's the combo. This is going to be the tier 2 for Divine Ascension. Obsidian. They're in a very good spot. 41 to 40 kills at 11.5 minutes. This game is violent. This game is very aggressive. And so the first inhibitor of the game does go to Divine Ascension. They are going to have a pretty permanent tempo advantage if they're able to maintain it, if they're able to avoid throws. So most likely they want to wait for Caterpillar for now to come back. They don't actually want this fight while Akuma is resetting closer to their own base. It would be nice if you could find a health relic for Mike Vic's dog, but not existing right now. Cooldown check. Viego does not have Heart Breaker. Rakan doesn't have Quickness. And Akuma is almost completely online, only missing the Apotheosis. So this is definitely a slightly favorable fight. It would be nice if they could defend the inhibitor. Unfortunately, Divine Ascension does have to concede a lot of their lane prio here. But now they pull the trigger. Mike Vic's dog casting the Ornhorn. It hits 2, but without much feasible follow-up. Killian is hard in the backline, not able to contribute here. It's just some pressure. It's just some weight there. As long as Brent can stay on. Hakuram going in with the Rakan ultimate. The combo is started. Akuma strikes. Rakan trying to trade back a little bit. Magnum Buck does go down. Mike Vic's dog trying to play the health relics here. Caterpillar for now is extremely low. They do manage to trade back Hakuram, who is not able to kill completely. Check Mailbox is still alive, but with no Pyroclasm available. It is a 4 for 2, 4 for 1 in the end. 3 for 1. I can't count. I was looking at the numbers who are alive. Even so, if Hakuram can't do something now, Check Mailbox dies even. This might be the end of the series. X-Luke is going to trade back. Check Mailbox is trying to wave clear. There is no wave. Look where Mike Vick's dog is. Mike Vick's dog is single-handedly saving this game by preventing Akuma from pushing the wave. They're not able to actually progress onto structure damage. Check Mailbox is trying to survive here. Soli is fighting. Cafe Chocolata is free hitting. Mike Vick's dog goes down in the back end. Check Mailbox goes down in the front end. And now Orianna playing to the wrong base. There is a 2v2 skirmish, but with severe health disadvantage. If Cafe Chocolata goes down, will do so. Soli should be next. Troll Gamer is trying to repel the other two. Just trying to get you to focus on hitting Belveth rather than actually pushing this wave. And Hakarum lying in wait behind enemy lines, trying to find Magnum Buck. Will immediately not kill the Rakan. The Jack's ultimate burst doesn't do anything. Hakarum dies without finding much value at all. Divine Ascension are only pushing into Nila. And granted, Orianna will be back in time, but with 5 strong on this push, despite Rakan's HP, it might be kind of difficult for them to... no, it won't be difficult at all. Magnum Buck is going to die on purpose just for future team fights. Hakarum is alive in 8 seconds. The wave disadvantage is too poor. And now, surely, Divine Ascension do not want to fight a fresh Akuma without their Rakan. An unfortunately necessary death there. The tension is so thick you can cut it with a knife. Akuma are, because they managed to get 2 Divine Ascension's inhibitor and kind of keep the wave controlled, despite Mike Vick's dog's contribution, Akuma are pushing. Which means that even if Divine Ascension win this coming fight, the death timers have to be very, very long for them to actually punch through for structure damage. Who will pull the trigger first? Akuma can't reasonably walk up to hit the turrets very easily with these comps, but they're trying to fish for it with Nila Q. X-Luke may be caught by the mark here. Maokai ultimate to cover. Call of Forge God Summon is not going to find anybody. Silas has stolen the ultimate. The Ornhorn for them hits more. Apotheosis is big. Akuma are running over this fight in a big, big way. Nila is scaled, going down pretty quickly. The carry on the back end is the Orianna free hitting, and that is Killian trying to finish this off. Going to take Orianna's shield himself. Flash out. No good reset, playing for the wave instead, but Belveth flashes forwards, takes out the Viego. That is 5 dead for Divine Ascension, and that is going to be Akuma taking this series 3-1 in our first, actual 4-game series of the split. And Divine Ascension really put up one hell of a fight, but in the end, it is the first seed of Group A advancing to the semifinals. Wow. My voice is fading. I've got to bring you guys back to this scene here where we can kind of just look at these compositions. I will fix the score for you momentarily here. Oh. What a night. Now, the best of 5 ARAM format is certainly a lot more exciting than the best of 3 we've seen in the regular season. We had the ability to adapt. We had the ability to make big mistakes and to kind of strategize in your next game with your next pool based on what you learned here. And yeah, I think both teams really did show an effort at just kind of developing the strategy of the mode, right? We'd love to see the proxy. We'd love to see just these tempo plays. We'd love to see the no wave clear comps get punished. Right? But frankly, on the solo cast, I really don't have too much more to say here. So let's actually check in on the rest of our quarterfinals series. All right, let's do that. So some of these games, it looks like that may have been the last ongoing game. And wow, every other series ended in 3-0. In fact, Bobo Destroyers versus Wolves was done by 8 o'clock. That's 1 hour of gameplay. So the advancing teams, Bobo Destroyers, have 3-0'd the Wolves, which Bobo Destroyers is a very, very strong team. And Challenger A-Rammers, who were undefeated in the regular season, have also gone 3-0 against the Reapers. Now, Dirty Mike and the boys also went 3-0 into Technique Esports, which I expected to be a little more of an even match. So what does that create for the playoff brackets? Let's find out. So if I remember how I set this up correctly, this should work. And yeah, perfect. So here's the playoff bracket for the Victorious ARAM series. And I suppose if we had a 3-0 and a 3-0 and a 3-0, and then a good old 3-1, then what we're going to see is that is an exciting matchup next week. Akuma Katanas versus Challenger A-Rammers. Oh, it's my bad. I apologize. I've done this... Something looks a little odd, but I digress. Yeah, just in terms of how things were written here. We'll figure that out later. But either way, the matchup that we have going on here is Akuma Katanas versus Challenger A-Rammers, which is super, super fun. Like, these are very, very strong teams meeting in the semifinals. And meanwhile, Bobo Destroyers going up against Dirty Mike and the boys. So the finals that we have here, either it's going to be Akuma Katanas representing Group A very strongly, and we have a Group A first seed versus Group B dominant seed finals, or we have a repeat of the most exciting match that we've seen in Group B with Challenger A-Rammers and Bobo Destroyers, right? Of course, Dirty Mike and the boys are still primed to make like a big dark horse run. They are the lowest seed remaining here. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the bracket. I don't know. Okay, either way. Not for me to talk about on broadcast, but... So that's what we can expect to see from our matches next week. We will let you guys know as soon as possible which one we are going to stream. And yeah, so with that said, thank you so much for watching the Victorious ARAM series. The narratives are starting to be set up a little bit. I am really, really excited to see these top echelon teams like continue to duke it out. And yeah. That's all. So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to love yourselves, respect each other. I will see you all next time. Take care, everyone.